Hi, and welcome to this Investor Forum online. First up, we have with us CEO Jonas Ehinger from Gapwaves, and you may go ahead and present now.
Thank you for organizing this and for having us. So I'm Jonas Ehinger from Gapwaves, and I want to give a short overview of Gapwaves. And the main points in my brief presentation will be the market and the market situation that we are in right now. It's a very exciting and positive momentum for Gapwaves. And also how we approach our customers in strategic partnerships. And also I will give you our outlook in terms of the pipeline, how those partnerships will result in product and product supply to our customers. And also mention how we approach high volume production for and with our customers. Before I get into some of these points, I'd like to give a short background on Gapwaves. We're a Swedish tech company based in Gothenburg. And the company was founded in 2011 by Professor Per-Simon Kildal, based on antenna research at Chalmers Technical University in Gothenburg around a unique waveguide technology, which is now really gaining momentum, especially in certain applications like automotive radar, for instance. It's a high performance antenna technology, which is pretty much a requirement for automotive industry as well as other industry segments going forward. Right now, our main focus is within automotive radar applications, as I mentioned, but we also keep a very close eye towards another exciting opportunity, which is in telecom and satellite communication. And we're engaged in various or several advanced research projects together with both companies as well as academia in this area. So it's definitely an opportunity for Gapwaves in the future. We are supplying our customers with a key component, which is the antenna component, for example, for their radar sensor products. And they deliver radar sensors, including the antenna, to automotive manufacturers like Volvo or Mercedes or BMW or other car manufacturers. We are listed on the Nasdaq First North stock market since 2016, and we're currently around 44 employees. We've been growing rapidly in line with the contract wins that we have achieved in the last couple of years. So as we're nearing the end of the year, I'd like to summarize 2024 so far. It's been a very positive year for us. We started the year strongly with an enhanced or strengthened partnership with Frencken, our contract manufacturer in Asia. Then in Q2, we saw an addition with our customer, Bosch, expanding the collaboration. And also in Q2, we were able to add a first Asian tier 1 customer in a development project. And then our associated company, which I'll come back to later in the presentation, Sensrad, entered into a large frame agreement and collaboration agreement with a Chinese ITS or transport solutions provider in Chinese cities. And then very, very happy to finally be able to disclose and announce a supply contract with Valeo, which is a European tier 1 that we've been working with since Q1 2023. And last week, not least, we were also able to inaugurate and open officially our pilot line facility here in Gothenburg, next door to our headquarters. And just as another indication on the positive momentum that we're seeing this year, our sales growth is very strong. We're at over 130% so far this year versus same period last year. And that means per end of Q3, of course. So essentially, one important aspect to remember is that each radar in a car need an antenna each. So the number of radar sensors in the cars as a whole, over all cars, will drive volume for Gapwaves. What you see in your upper right corner is an example of such a radar sensor. Essentially a plastic box with an electronic board, and on top of that electronic board there's an antenna. And there's a number of these radar sensors in high-end cars currently, but due to technical and legal requirements, also more basic key benefits compared to competition. On the left, you can see a waveguide antenna from a competitor. It's made from plastic parts, and then it's being coated. Those parts are being coated with a silver-based coating. It becomes relatively bulky, and the assembly method of the antenna is quite cumbersome and expensive. Whereas the Gapwave version of that antenna, which you can see in the middle of this picture, is simpler to assemble. And simpler to assemble means lower cost of production. So we have a cost benefit. Performance-wise, they are the same. So we have the same high performance as any waveguide antenna. But our building method allows us to do them smaller or thinner, as you see in the picture, but also utilizing more cost-effective materials, also providing additional cost benefits due to relaxed mechanical tolerance requirements. On the right, you see our newest addition. It's an antenna made from only metal, very thin metal sheets. It brings down the footprint or the thickness of the antenna even further. Because it's not made from metal, a very standardized production method can be used, adding even more cost benefits to this solution. Being also made from metal only, it can also provide thermal cooling capabilities, which becomes more important the more advanced and the more powerful the radar sensors become, because then, like any electronic equipment, they need also cooling capabilities. And in this case, the multi-layer waveguide antenna can actually act as a cooling element for the entire radar sensor. So that means that the entire radar sensor can be reduced even further in size and also even further in cost, which is a major benefit for automotive customers, not least just to be able to fit these sensors in fairly large number onto or into a car, because space is very precious in modern cars. Looking at the market potential, we're in a perfect storm right now, because there are a number of very hard requirements in the automotive industry when it comes to automotive radar sensors. There is legal requirements, so every car needs a certain amount of safety systems or driver assistance systems, such as emergency braking. So that's the legislation part, and these requirements are increasing in the coming years. So that means that more driver assistance systems need to be added. We also have the rating systems for how safe a car is, which now means that it's impossible to achieve the highest rating in Euro NCAP without active driver assistance systems. And then we have technical requirements, which means that automotive radar they are only allowed to operate in certain frequency bands, very high frequencies compared to earlier. And that means that traditional antenna technology cannot deliver the performance that is needed for these functions and driver assistance systems. And that means that Gapwaves is in a perfect spot right now to be able to capture the needs of the industry and get our unique waveguide technology into our customers' products. And that's what we've seen already since quite a few years. And fundamentally, this market will grow and is growing at around 25% a year or more for the rest of the decade due to these requirements. I'm sure you've heard of various driver car automation levels. And this is a picture that we've used before. And I will not go into detail, but if you look at the first row, number of radars, you can see that the more of these driver assistance systems that are being added to the car, the more radar sensors they will need, along with other types of sensors. And we're currently around level 2 or level 2 plus in the most advanced cars, but there are already cars announced that will implement level 5 and beyond, which means that they need at least 5 radar sensors per car, which is an enormously important growth factor for Gapwaves moving forward. And of course, in terms of our business model, we grow with our customers. So we scale up as a company and in our capabilities in line with the customer contracts that we enter into. For instance, this slide we've shown before, now obviously it gets continuously updated. The most important information in this slide is really what is highlighted here in this column, startup production. And this is the pipeline and of some of the contracts that we've been able to announce, and also when those products get into production and being supplied to customers. That's the leverage in Gapwaves, when our development projects convert into products that are being produced in high volumes and supplied to customers. As you can see, we're on track when it comes to the timelines that have been communicated. In terms of Forvia and Hella, that antenna started production in Q1 this year, and the ramp up is ongoing and will continue throughout next year also. And then same with Smart Micro, we started production in Q2, and that is now being ramped up. Sensrad, the Sensrad antenna will also commence into serial production before the end of the year. And then, as I mentioned earlier, with the Valeo contract, in fact, that timeline was accelerated with more than 9 months, and we were able to accommodate that together with Valeo, so we can commence production during 2025, high volume production. So we're in a good position now with a number of very strong customer partnerships, building our pipeline going forward in the coming few years. And finally here, I'd like to mention also our associated company, or the company Sensrad. We made an investment into that company because we feel that outside the automotive industry, there's a need for complete high-end or high-performance radar sensors, which normally is called or referred to as 4D imaging radar sensors. This is probably the world's most capable radar sensor right now. And in industry segments like within farming, mining, harbors, airports, etc., there are a number of different types of vehicles that can be automated, and they all need perception of their surroundings. And radar sensors play a unique role in that automation initiative, which is happening in a number of industries right now. We have 30% ownership in Sensrad. We're providing the antenna, and the antenna is an enabler for Sensrad to achieve this high radar performance. And it's a company that has an off-the-shelf solution for its customers. And I would like to emphasize the partnership with Tianyi in China, which is rolling out a traffic management solution in several very large Chinese cities. And the first few units are now being supplied to this customer for implementation in Chinese cities. And Sensrad has a very interesting customer pipeline where there's a big interest from customers in various industry segments evaluating Sensrad's radar sensor product right now. Finally, I would like to summarize that Gapwaves is a very interesting investment case with a very strong fundamental market potential. The question is not if the market will be there. The market is there and it's growing. It's confirmed and fundamentally driven by legal and technical requirements in the marketplace. We have a number of very strong customer partnerships. These customers are not traditional just customers, they're partners. They're helping Gapwaves to add capabilities and competence, and we're growing in line with these partnerships. And I have to say that Gapwaves has been active in the automotive market for only 5 years, or not even fully 5 years. And we've been able to add quite a few very strong, top-notch companies as our customers in a very short time period. And for those of you who are familiar with Gapwaves, you also know that one of them, Hella, made a sizable investment in Gapwaves back in 2021, 182 million. And we've been able to grow and learn and develop together with our customers. And now, with the pilot line in place and up and running, we're also expanding in our production capability. So the pilot line is a pivotal facility for us because we can maintain our know-how and refine our know-how in the production of the antennas, not just the development, and then replicate these production methods in third-party contractor factories. So we can set it up there to scale up quickly in different geographies also, without having to build our own factories or invest in our own fixed infrastructure, such as factory and staffing, etc. I hope I was able to give some flavor to these aspects of Gapwaves. And finally, I just want to remind you all that if you want more information on Gapwaves, please visit our website, especially the investors section, because we made a major overhaul a couple of weeks ago, and now it contains a very nice structure with a lot of KPIs on the share and the share development, as well as background information based on the same aspect that I discussed in this presentation. Thank you, and I think Rasmus will have some questions for me, I hope.
Thank you very much for that presentation. And of course, I have a lot of questions. I don't even think we will manage to get through all of them today. But to start off, you mentioned that you have a strong momentum in the business. And can you just talk a little bit more what is driving this momentum?
I think I explained it in that slide. There is a shift towards more driver assistance functions, and that means also that our customers at tier ones, they need to upgrade radar sensors into new generations, and that's what we're seeing. But we're also seeing a pickup in segments outside of the traditional automotive industry. As I mentioned, in industry applications, trucks in harbors, transportation, and mining, farming, etc. So I think there's been reorganization in those segments outside automotive, and now they're seeing that it's actually easier to automate vehicles in those verticals than on public roads because of less complex traffic environments, essentially. But fundamentally in the automotive industry, the market is driven by Euro NCAP legislation and technical requirements.
And I just want to ask you also, because Valeo you signed as a supplier agreement quite recently, which was an accelerated launch, as you put it in the presentation. Is that driven by like product maturity on your end, or is that something else driving the acceleration?
We understand that it's driven by the car manufacturer because they needed to add this capability to a car model, essentially, and that meant that they needed to have products sooner rather than later, and it's again yet another sign of the fundamental trends in the marketplace and the must-dos for any car manufacturer that want to launch new car models into, say, Europe or North America.
All right, so it is fundamentally driven by the regulation, etc., and that the customer is in a hurry, essentially.
Yeah.
All right, I think that is unfortunately all the questions we have time for today. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Rasmus.